See, the things that really are most important in life, money really can't buy. The 2025 Render My Money Financial Seminar. This is going to be season 8, and it's episode 1. And it's really good to see everybody here. This year we're going to do a little different class. I decided to incorporate a book. I don't know if many of you are members, but pastor had recommended a book to his company called Dave Ramsey, The Money Makeover. So you can go to slide 2. So I decided to do an outline so you can see what the class is going to be about. So each month we're going to incorporate this book, and I read the book, and I was so impressed with. It's not identical, but this book really gives you the how. Dave in the first Financial Peace series gave us the what to do. And we're going to still do that because it's very important. But how to do it is even more important, and to get a full understanding of just how things that affect your finances that go beyond just what you make and what you spend. A lot of times we really don't count all the cost when we make purchases. And just listen to his book and reading it along with he has a workbook that goes with it that I'm going to go over. It really gave me a lot of insight on just how easy it is to get off course, because sometimes we go make a purchase and we think we're buying a $40,000 car, but it really impacts us about $60,000 or $70,000. And when you look at your income and you say, well, I make $100,000 a year and I'm only buying this car, why don't I have any money? We're going to learn that interest and what we pay in high interest rates really affect our ability to invest. So the syllabus is going to go this way. Today, we're going to go with what we always start with, which is our financial vision. It's so important because it speaks to the attitudes and what we need to do to make sure we have a target. We have to have something that we want to accomplish when it comes to our finance. And so this class is so important. So this month we're going to do the financial vision. February we're going to do Dave Ramsey Money Makeover, and we're going to do the first half of the book, which is always a chapter, I think it's 5, when you get to the part about debt. And I'm going to go and you're going to read it. So I want everybody to get the book. The book is only $15. And so for everybody who's here, if you go through the whole class, you get your $15 back. So it doesn't cost you anything, but it is an investment. But you can go ahead and get the book. It's on audio book, or you can buy the paperback, and you just read the book, and then we're going to go over it. So we're going to do the first half in February. We're going to do the second half, part 2, in March. And we're going to work through this workbook so we'll be able to go in detail about the different principles and techniques that he has in the book, and make sure everybody understands it. Then in April, we're going to go back and make sure that we implement a proper budget and debt elimination strategy. Again, this is really important because as we go through the vision today, we're going to find that there's no real secret to having financial freedom. It's really very simple, but simple things are not easy. So I recognize that it's not easy, but it is simple. There's nothing that Dave talks about that is new or mysterious or some new invention, but his ability to reiterate certain points, because when you look at his life story, he went through a lot of things that even I didn't go through. I've never gone through bankruptcy. I've never gone through a part of being totally broke. So when you look at Dave, I like his book because the insight is very good. So we're going to still do the debt elimination. Then in May, we're going to get back to investing. Investing is how we have our money working for us. So we will do investing in May. And then in June, we're going to do estate planning. We'll talk about wills. We'll talk about insurance. We'll talk about all those things that go along with you preparing for your next generation or even just your transition. We all going to transition out of here. Nobody's going to make it past that. So we need to have a plan for that. So that's our outline for this year. And I'm looking forward to it. So the name of the book is Dave Ramsey, Money Makeover. The Money Makeover. And it's $15. It may be $20. I know it's $15 during the holidays. So if it goes to $20, whatever the amount it is, I see everybody's here. So you can text me at, I'll give my email out after the class, and you can text me. And everybody here that gets the book, I'm going to make sure that if you go through the class, it don't cost you a dime. All right? So slide number 3. So, when you think about money, the first thing people say when they think about how do I solve my problem with my financial situation? And it's unanimous. Everybody always said, I just need more money. And in some aspects, that's true. I mean, there's a poverty level when you're not making enough money just to sustain basic essentials. But there are strategies for that too. But for most people, more money is not the complete solution to your financial problems. And we see that because we see all the people who made tons of money have problems. True financial solutions should not cost you your peace. At the end of the day, your peace is the most important thing. I was looking at a video of Mike Tyson, and they were interviewing him about he went to jail at the height of his career. I think at the time he had made some $250 million. And the guy said, man, I know living that lifestyle, I know it was really hard for you to adjust to going to prison. And Mike, without hesitation, said, I got the best sleep of my life. Now, that's powerful when you think about it. When you think about it, we think that getting more money is going to take care of our problems. We think it's going to eliminate because all we see are the bills or the struggle to pay. But we don't understand the attitude and the proper strategies and skill set we need in managing our money. I always like to think about Proverbs 10:22 when it says, the blessings of the Lord make it rich and addeth no sorrow. That is the true definition of a successful financial situation. We talk about blessings in a financial sense. Blessings, period, should not bring sorrow. Because when you think about it, blessings without the proper management becomes a curse. And it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I was at a church service, and the preacher was talking about Adam and Eve. And when you think about it, Adam and Eve received the first eviction on earth. Now, Satan got evicted from heaven, but on earth, Adam and Eve got evicted from the Garden of Eden. Now, you think about it, you say, well, they did it because they did not follow God's instructions. True enough, but what was their role in the Garden of Eden? What was their role? They were managers. God gave Adam a job. He was naming the animals. And God could have actually named the animals for him. But see, God has given us the ability to do certain things. And we have to have a strong will to want to understand and get as much knowledge we can to be great stewards of what God has entrusted to us. So a lot of times I like to tell people, don't just have your target on money and making more money, because when you think about it, if you just get more money, will it bring you peace? Guaranteed? No, it's not guaranteed. Will it bring you relationships that are good relationships? No. So it won't guarantee great relationships. It can give you a relationship, but it'll not be some great ones. It can be some relationships you wish you never had. Will it relieve stress? Now, do you think you're going to be stress-free? There are more psychiatrists in Beverly Hills per capita than any project. People are sleeping more in making minimum wage than people who got millions of dollars. We saw Michael Jackson die because he couldn't go to sleep. So when we think about money, we have to think about stewardship. Will it bring you more time to do the things you love? You know, that's the thing that people say, money can buy you, the ability to do things. But one thing about doing anything that you dream of doing, if you have a troubled heart or mind, you can't enjoy it. You can be on the most beautiful beach. You can be in the biggest house. You can have the nicest car. But if your soul is troubled, you're not doing better than a person who's sleeping under a bridge if he's going to sleep. So when I think about the blessings that I like to talk about, what God's plan for our lives, it's the blessing of with no sorrow. Maketh it rich and addeth no sorrow. And so, I like people just to start changing their attitude and their thinking when it comes to how do I solve my financial problem. The way we're going to look at it is we're going to look to Matthew 6:33. What should we do? How do we solve this problem? We know that money is not the most important thing. And I saw another little story, a speech. A guy was speaking, and he said it this way about money. He said, if you prayed to God, and you said, God, I got all these bills, I just need $2 million, and I won't ask you for no more, nothing else. And God came back and said, okay, well, I can give you $2 million, but I'm gonna bring you home tomorrow. You're going to die tomorrow, but you get $2 million. How many people would take that? So money is not more valuable than your life. Or it's not, you're not going to give your life for $2 million. I hope not. Now, some people may, but most people in their right mind are not going to do that. Or he said, well, I'm going to give you $2 million, but your loved one, the person you love, is going to die. So it's not more important than your relationships. Or he says, I can give you $2 million, but you're not going to be able to walk. So it's not better than your health. See, the things that really are most important in life, money really can't buy. So what is our problem where we feel that money has stolen most of our peace? Well, it's two things. One is we live in a marketing society. So the question is, what should we do? So first we look at Matthew 6:33, where it says, first and most important, seek, it means aim at, strive after, his kingdom and his righteousness, his way of doing and being right, the attitude and character of God. And all the things will be given unto you also. So that's the first thing. Everything starts with us focusing on God. Now, I don't like people to get that confused, because a lot of people say when you focus on God, that's all you got to do. Understand, there's a God part and there's a me part. In all that we do, God, just like with Adam. Adam had everything. I didn't know this because I read chapter 2, and I'm going to talk about this later, but in Genesis chapter 2, you should read it, because I didn't know there was gold in Eden, in the Garden of Eden. That was gold. So when you trust God first, the true riches that you and the blessing that you want is what you're going to get. And God can bless you whenever he gets ready. So the mission of this class is to inspire the attitudes and inform the minds of Christians so that they will become good stewards over what God has entrusted them. The principles for successful financial management are simple, but not easy. The principles are basic common sense. Live below your means, save your money, invest the surplus in minimal risk but good investments. That's it. That's really it. I mean, that is what everybody's, Dave Ramsey, Burkett, all these great financial, that's all they're telling you. But there's a big part between that. I mean, we have a pastor right now who's doing a water fast. That is the most simplest diet I ever could think of. You ain't got to look for no ingredients. All you need is water. You can't get no simpler than that. But it sure ain't going to be easy. So what's simple doesn't mean it's easy. So I don't want you to think I'm making light of it, but there are certain things that we have to want to look at to do in order to make sure that we take the simplicity and apply it, but we have the motivation because we know what the end is. We have a vision of why we're doing it. I think, like I said earlier, blessings without proper ability to manage always in most cases become a curse. So God always has two answers when you pray. And this is the thing I thought was very interesting. I heard a pastor say he has two answers. He has yes and not yet, or not now. And that's because it's delayed, either for your development or for your protection. And see, that's the thing. A lot of times we could get a blessing if God knew we could handle it. So how do you get God to be convinced you can handle a blessing? You manage where you are. You're impeccable, and things flow to people who manage where they are. People who are not jealous, envious of other people, people who are managing where they are. That's the attitude. And it doesn't mean you're a walking mat and do things for everybody and just try, but you manage based on what truth is. Because a lot of times when you start directing your money, then everything has purpose. So when there's things that come up, because I used to handle the benevolent giving at the church, I can tell you that multiple times people come to us to help them with their rent because they loaned a loved one their rent money. And the person said they're going to pay them back. And I'm sure everybody's heard those stories. So proper management would have told you, you're not in a position to help people. You know what I'm saying? You're not in a position. So it solves the problem. So we have to understand that God holds all blessings for us because we're not ready for them. And we could be not ready because we don't know how to manage it, and we get it. We're going to be crying. And like I tell people all the time, if you read the stories of people who come into money, 75% of lottery winners say they wish they never won it. 75%, that's 3 out of 4. And we got people now, and it's just $1 billion, man. Everybody's trying to get a ticket. Now, I'm not going to say that it happens to everybody, but it happens to 3 out of 7, 3 out of 4. So if 3 out of 4 say it, then it's going to happen to most people. It don't have to happen to you, but you get the proper understanding and skill set. Now, so what is the dash? What is the dash between this simple thing and us being able to manage our money? Go to slide 8. On slide 8, this is the financial. This is slide 8. This says, I think that's the one that says the financial equation. That's slide. Slide 8 is the financial equation right there, yeah. So this is how it looks, and this is why I want everybody to take a note, because we're gonna see this a lot. And everybody has seen this before, but people hate writing this down. People don't like seeing these 3 things put up because sometimes it's depressing. When you look at all the money you spent over this Christmas holiday, and this is not anybody here, I'm just saying people in general. I'm not trying to point people out, but a lot of people, I mean, my uncle used to always talk about January is the biggest, the most depressed time of the year. Because people are coming out of all the marketing that has been done to clean your pockets out, and then they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So when you think about it, that dash, income minus expenses, is the part that we have to focus on. And what is that? I want you to hear this video right quick. This is a coach. His name is Nick Saban. And he's the most successful coach. And this is the most consistent thing I see when it comes to money at any level.
They have no aspiration if there's nothing that they are working towards.
That's Bishop.
If you don't have a picture of a harvest, why would you keep sowing a seed?
That's the wrong one.
But I realize.
Go to the other one, the one that says, is that 9?
Things that you need to do your part. And
I'm gonna start over. Now I was gonna go, but I thought this was very good. So just start over and see.
do smart things. Which are you? Everything that we talk about is going to come down to how do you have the discipline to execute and do the things that you need to do your part. And one thing that everybody has to overcome to be able to do this is, am I going to do what I feel like doing? Or am I going to choose to do the things I need to do to accomplish the goal and the vision that I have? This is a huge hurdle for everybody. Because how many times have you heard somebody say, I don't feel like doing that? It doesn't matter what you feel like. You got to make choices and decisions based on what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. You got to be committed to it, and it's got to be important to you if you're able to do that.
The first part of that, what he said, disciplined people do smart things. Undisciplined people do dumb things. When a person goes and buys a car at 29% interest, that is not a smart thing. People who are smart understand the compound effect of interest, compound interest. There's no market that you can get consistent, nowhere in the market you can get a consistent return of 29%. The market is great, but at best it's been giving people 12% on a consistent basis. That's what doing minimal risk is going to do. So when you think about it, discipline, the ability to be disciplined is the part that is the most difficult when it comes to financial management. I don't care what level, because you see people who have a ton of money and they blowing through it. I mean, and not just because I know what's in their pocket. I'm not saying that. But even when I look at the little box, Floyd Mayweather, there is a psychological thing when you have to have 20 cars. Because think about it. If I fed you cake every day, all day for 6 weeks, that's all you ate was cake. That cake is not going to be good to you. No kind of cake is going to be good to you. So think about the other side of that. When you just buy everything all the time, there becomes an insatiable way where it becomes diminished. The return becomes diminished on what it brings to you. So that's one side of discipline. That's the side people wish for. If I had $1 billion, I can buy what I want and go where I want. But hey, you lose even the appreciation of things because you have so much excess. You see it with people who are famous and they go through a lot of women and stuff, and they get deviant. On the other end, it can be the other way. It can be that a person doesn't have that much. And because they don't have that much, they beg and borrow for what they want for what they need, and then they buy what they want. So the discipline part is your ability to sacrifice based on what you're trying to do. You know you have a goal. You know I need to get out of debt. What does that look like? Will I work for this short term to get out of debt? Will I cut back on things that I love and want because I need to make up for the lost time? Those are the hard decisions. You know, the best thing I can say is if you can get to a point where when you realize a mistake, what I try to do personally is I try to realize a mistake and don't repeat it. In my company, I have a rule. You can make a mistake one time as long as you can do two things. You can explain to me a thought pattern where you did some thinking. And two, that you never do that same mistake again. And that's what I feel about life. I mean, you think about things you've done, it's the mistakes you repeat are the ones that really get you. If you have children, it's the one you got to whip out the same thing. So I think discipline, and what Nick is talking about is those are the difference between the people who are successful and people who are not. I don't care how much talent you have. It's the ones that are willing to sacrifice what they want to do for what they need to do. And what that is called is attitude. Attitude determines the mindset. Your mindset determines your thoughts. And see what advertisers do, they get into your thoughts. They get in you say, man, you driving a 10-year-old car, you are not worth the salt on a pork rind chip. What do you call them? Skins. I'm trying to think of something salty. You can't get nothing salty in there. You know, but the advertisers think I need this kind of purse. So they get into your thoughts. And then their thoughts going to determine your actions. You walk by the store, oh my goodness, I got to have it. Or guys, man, I got to have this car. Girl not going to talk to me without this car. And your actions determine your habits. And your habits then will determine your destiny. You know, the attitude is so important that even when I look at what Steve Jobs said, he said the most expensive watch in the world tells the same time as a cheap one. Now, that's when he's about to pass on. He said the most luxurious car, like a Rolls Royce, and a basic car like a Volkswagen, both get you from point A to point B. True happiness comes from the simple joys in life, not material possession. Man, you know, today, you know, I'm married now 30 years, so I've been out of the dating game for a minute. But when I just look at social media and I listen to people talk, and how everybody's for sale now. Everybody's talking about, oh, I gotta have a man that's making $600,000, $400,000 a year. I gotta have this, I gotta have that. Nobody understands that there are people making $600,000 a year who cracking their wives over the head. When my daughter was a little girl, I said, what do you want in a husband? She said, he has to be educated. No, she said he has to be a Christian. She was 8 years old. He has to be a Christian, he has to be educated, and he has to have a good job. This is 8 years old. I said, those are good attributes, Brooke. Those are good, but I said, those things are all things that are important, but they're not the most important. I said, character is the most important thing you want in a man. Because a man with character is going to do the right thing when he's not pushed to do the right thing, when no one's looking. And doing the right thing would ultimately turn into success. The Bible says that. The steps of the righteous are ordered by God. So what are we talking about? We're talking about we have to be disciplined, and we have to understand that this society is built to empty your pockets. You know, I refuse to get attached to anything that's material. I don't care what it is. I refuse. I will not get attached. I never say I love anything that's material. I don't love no car. I don't love no house. I don't love money. What my thing is that once you say you love certain things, that is your God. And I've seen people say, oh, I just love this. I just love that. And I don't say that. I use love very sparingly because I want to remain disciplined and balanced in my approach. So what should our priorities be? Let's slide 10. Our priorities are given to us in Proverbs 3:5. It says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not unto our own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Again, it starts with God, but it doesn't just end with us putting everything on God. Remember I said there's a God part and there's a man part. And what God is responsible for is God gives us the increase. And when you think about coming through your financial journey and getting to the part where you're setting your vision, what you want to do is you want to operate in, first of all, being truthful in where you are with your skill set and how you manage things, how you are managing your stewardship over what God has entrusted with you at this point. How am I managing that? Okay, I haven't done a good job because I have been led by my emotions. So let's change it. The way you get control of your emotions are you kill those emotions. You stop moving by emotions and you do the things, say, okay, I love going out to eat every day, but I'm going to cook for the next 2 years. I love eating lunch with my friends, but I'm going to brown bag it because it's going to save me $300 a month. See, that's when you start operating out of your emotions, what you feel like doing. You know, and what most people don't understand that a farmer can go out and plow the ground, he can seed it, he can fertilize it, he can water it. And those things would normally cause it to grow. That's only because God allows that. Because it's not guaranteed it will grow. God will give you the increase. And the way God increases us is the blessing with no sorrow. So I'm not going to tell you what not to do. As long as it lines up with the word of God, you can do it. As long as it's with the character of God, you can do it. But at the same time, you got to start now managing where you are. And, you know, I just feel like people think that they get accustomed to a certain lifestyle and it's too late for them to change. I don't know what the time is, but I do know that God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, and he sees our actions. He knows our heart, and he sees our action. My only prayer to God was to be debt-free. That was my only prayer. Because I have never been a person who enjoyed debt. Because I pay people back. See, when you don't pay people back, you can handle debt. You can, man, you can borrow as much as they're going to give me. I hear comedians telling me, man, they shouldn't have sent me that credit card. They don't lose sleep. But they also don't understand that God made the world universe, is a universe, is a circle. And what you put out, you're going to get back. I had a cousin one time, and this is how I can remember things and how things impact me. I couldn't have been no more than about 9 or 10 years old. We were going to Six Flags. My cousin, we went to the grocery store, and the lady gave him $5 more back than she should have. And man, he was happy, he was celebrating, and my cousin was loaded. He had plenty of money. And we went out to Six Flags. He lost a wallet that had about $300 in there. And his mama told him, It's because you didn't do the right thing. And that impacted me. It wasn't even my money. But I said, man, I'm going to get up. I said, I'm going to get money back there. I'm not going to take it. And, you know, for the most part, I would do that. But I still did something that was wrong. I'm in church. I'm going to tell the truth. I had a girlfriend, a girl I used to date, and she had a guy that worked at a clothing store. And he had got some hot alligator shoes. And man, and he said, man, I give these shoes for $150. And the shoes like $400 or $500. And this gators, man. And first of all, I knew I was in trouble when I bought them because the shoes hurt my feet. That was the first thing. I don't know how you reversed that, but I wish I could have. But that wasn't the worst part. Later on that year, it could have been 3 months later, somebody broke in my house and cleaned me out. They stole all my stuff. Everything they stole and they left them terrible shoes. But I had some lizard skin boots, some Dan Post boots. They took my boots and it took me like a good 6 months to break those. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. And it hit me and I knew it at the time. I said, I never should have bought those shoes. Now, you can't give me nothing hot. You can't give me nothing hot. And that's what I'm saying. So we have to understand that God sees everything and he's going to be rewarded. And in 2 Peter 5:1, this is our part. This is what our part is. Our part is, for this reason, applying your diligence. I mean, you got to stay on this thing. If you decide to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to set a vision today and this is what I want. And your vision don't have to be big. You can always increase your vision. But whatever it is, you just got to start reaching it. You make a habit of reaching your goals. So it says, for this very reason, applying your diligence. This is Peter 2, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 5 and 7. For this very reason, applying your diligence to the divine promise, make every effort in exercising your faith to develop moral excellence. Moral excellence. Listen, you can't beat doing right. I know people trying to teach you that right is bad now, but you can't beat it. Moral excellence, and in moral excellence, knowledge. So now you got to get the understanding of what to do, which is insight and understanding. And in your knowledge, self-control. Self-control. That is power. And in self-control, steadfastness. You're going to stand on it. You're not going to be swayed. They're going to tell you this, no, man, you got to get with the time. It's different now. No, steadfastness. And in your steadfastness, godliness. And in your godliness, brotherly affection. And in your brotherly affection, love that is learned to be unselfish, seek the best for others, and to do things for their benefit. Listen, you got to be able to give. You can't always be on the receiving end because the receiving person is not the most blessed person. It's always the person who has the ability to give. And this does not mean that we don't hold people accountable. Giving people what they want is not helping people. Just like giving a child that wants candy every day is not helping that child. Just like telling a child, no, I'm going to carry you where you go. Now, they may love you, toting them around, but that doesn't develop. That's not good for the child. You have to understand that you are accountable for your actions. God has entrusted, and other people are accountable for theirs. They have to keep their word. They have to do stuff. And when they don't, then that's not you being selfish. That's you trying to teach them that you can't operate in life not keeping your word. You can't operate in life just not trying to better yourself and do the things you can do. To help a person always require their participation. You can't help a person who's not going to participate in their own salvation. You try to save somebody that's drowning, and they're not only not participating, they start fighting you. Tell a person no when they got the solution to their problem, which they want you to finance. And watch how they start fighting you just like you're trying to save them from drowning. You tell them, listen, man. He said, man, I can't make they pull up in front of your house in a brand new, nice, shiny car, man. I can't make my note this month, man. Can you help me out, man? I'm gonna pay you next pay. I said, look, man, you need to sell that car. What? Sell my car? What you talking about? They're trying to drown you. They're trying to drown you right there. So our part is to get self-control, be steadfast, be godly, but God is the same way. I know it took a lot for God to kick Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, but he did it. And nobody in this room better than God. So, all the things we have to do, you do in the proper love, understanding what help is. Help always means a change, a way for a person to change direction. It must promote change in a person. So if you allow a person to continue to do the same thing, you're not helping them. If you allow a drug addict to keep buying drugs, you're not helping them. You have to help them by a change. So our attitude when it comes to money is what's most important. It's not these principles we're going to go over. It's can you sacrifice and do the things you decide you need to do? Because, see, we're going to have a plan written up. And that plan is going to be a plan that you're going to say, okay, I'm going to stick to this come H or high water. I don't know, my mama used to say that. I ain't going to say the word in here. I know you can, but, and I don't know, I never know what that meant. I don't know what comes, the high water, but I guess that's the flood from what you call them. But my point is you have to be steadfast on what you're going to do. And you cannot get in this and start saying, oh, I can't do it. It depends. Because if you're not changing, you're choosing. So you write that down. That's the point. If you don't like your situation and you're not changing, then you're choosing to be that way. So if you start this plan and you say, I can't do it, you say, well, I'm going to choose to be in this same situation. You look in the mirror and look at yourself. So when we understand our attitude, and that's what God wants. God wants our attitude to be righteous. He wants our attitude to be one of character. He wants our attitude to be one that we want to give. And we don't want to be selfish. We don't want to get this money and say, I ain't helping nobody. Ain't nobody help me. But remember, the world is circular. Giving is a part of how you receive. Now I know they had this philosophy going called money cometh, where you go and give a certain amount and then you're supposed to get. But that's not necessarily the principle. I never believed in that principle. I believe in the principle that God has given us certain requirements, and we definitely supposed to do that. That's the least we can do. But it's not going to get us in heaven. What I learned to do is try to listen to my heart. And what I mean by that is, my heart has a logical side. I do not have a just overly emotional heart. I see what a person is trying to do and what they've done, and I look at their character and what their intent is. And that's how I help them. And sometimes I'm led to help people, and I do it. And I don't know any of those things, but when it's stuff that comes to me, or when I'm looking at things that I want to support, I'm always looking at the good of those things. And how will they be a blessing? Is it a extension of God's work? So we are now at the part where we need to set our financial vision. Go to slide 12. I think that's Bishop. That Bishop, I want you to hear this about a vision. I supposed to give him a heads up, man, because the way it's situated. But
towards. If you don't have,
that's it.
if they have no aspiration, if there's nothing that they are working towards, if you don't have a picture of a harvest, why would you keep sowing a seed? But I realize that, listen, we planted this today, we putting some water on this today, but a few weeks from now, we're going to be enjoying some tomatoes. See, they already see that. They understand that this is a process of working on something. And so whenever you have a vision of whether it's harvest, whether it is a degree, whether it is a promotion on the job, whether it is building something that will represent your legacy, you got to have a vision. If you don't have a vision, your life will run wild. Please don't condemn people for running wild. Help to enlighten them to vision. Show them a vision. Help them to dream. Take them some places and let them see something that exposes them to something that causes them to dream. Because if you find a boy or a girl who has no dream, they will go wild. But if their lives have an open vision, if they have a vision, a divine prophetic revelation of the will of God concerning their life, it puts restraints on us. So you don't just go wild and do everything that you want to do. And even if you make a mistake, your vision will pull you back. You realize, I'm not born for this.
Vision. You know, your vision is your why. It's your why and your emotional connection, is what he said. I looked at a Hall of Fame speech of Deion Sanders, and it was the most heart-wrenching speech I've ever heard, because he talked about how his mother worked the night shift at a hospital cleaning bedpans. And he was saying how he was ashamed of his mother, what she did. And he didn't want his friends to know what kind of job she did. But he said, as a little boy, he said, I'm going to make sure my mother would not have to work again in her life. Her mother raised, she was a single mother. She raised him. I think he had some sisters, but he raised the whole family. And she did it by any means necessary. And see, that's the character, you know? She went at home just trying to draw her check, because that doesn't help you. It puts you in a place where you can't get out. It gives your life, makes your life stagnant. That's why it's a curse. The worst curse a person can put on you is for you to remain the same. And he said, and it was sick because he was crying. It was true. He said, I was ashamed of my mama. And he said, but my mama ain't worked since I made the NFL. He had a vision. So you can dream. You can dream big. That was a big dream. He didn't know. He said, I'm going to go into the NFL and I'm done. But he had other steps, other goals that he had in place. He talked about how when he looked at how much cornerbacks made and it won a lot of money, he said, I can't retire my mama with this money. So he made this image, prime time, and became commercialized, and people bought into it. And he's made millions of dollars. And he's still successful. That's what a vision is. It starts with your why, your emotional connection. Go to slide 13. Vision without action is a daydream. So you can dream, but you got to put action behind it. Action without vision is a nightmare. That's a Chinese proverb. You have to know the difference. Your vision, your why. Why you get up in the morning, what drives your schedule, the whole thing you call life. Your emotional connection to your destination. Your plan is your how. How you're going to accomplish things every step of the way, small goals, and how you're going to execute them. That's what Saban said, executing the goals. Your obligatory connection path, roadmap to your destination. What you're obligated to do It has to be your obligation to follow your plan. And you can't let people come and sway you. And I'm going to tell you, you get any success going, you're going to have people coming trying to take your bucket that you done filled up with all your water and punch holes in it and get some and stick that little cup up under there. But then you have to enlighten them. No, let me show you how to do what I'm doing. I mean, that's when you share it. You don't let them you say, no, let me come show you. I can show. Now, you have to eat these beans and rice for the next 6 months. You have to cook at home. This is what I did. It gives you the authority to hold people accountable. You know what I'm saying? Goal. Go slide 14. How to turn vision to reality. First thing you got to do is pray and seek the heart and purpose of God for you. Everything's going to start with God, with me. Write it down. You got to write it down. It's no good if you don't write it down. And not only do you write it down, you stick it up in places you go. You stick it up in your bathroom, and or when you brush your teeth, just put your thing, put it in front of you, put it on your car. You got to set a deadline. You have to have a place, and you sit down. We're gonna teach you how to use tools to factor out how can I do what I need to do. If it's getting out of debt, if it's saving money, if it's investing, listen. Whatever it is that you decide is a part of your goal and you say, okay, this is what I need to do, even if you don't have the right knowledge of how to do it, just say this is what I need to do. The one thing you can control are your expenses. I can't tell you how the market going to do. I don't control the market. I can tell you it's been the best investment over the last 60 years, though. So it outperforms gold, it outperforms everything, but you got to do what you feel your stress level and your heart can handle. So you're going to set deadlines. You're going to make a list of everything you need to accomplish, everything you need to do and to accomplish it. You're going to make a list of everything you need to do to accomplish it. So if I got to get out of debt, that's what you're going to do. How are you going to accomplish it? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the snowball. We're going to talk about the snowball. The next one is organize the list into a checklist. Monitor your progress. It gives you motivation. Take action. You got to start today. You got to start today. You got to start today. You can't wait and say, as soon as you go home and procrastinate, you just messed up. You got to make a point that on this, I won't waste any time. Do something every day towards your goal. This is something I got from Bishop Brown, so I'm giving him credit. I can't be stealing folks' stuff in church. Habakkuk 2:3, everybody heard this? Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and engrave it plainly on tablets, so that one who reads it will run. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It's the future. It hurries towards the goal of fulfillment. It will not fail. Even though it's delayed, wait patiently for it. And what wait, it means don't sit and wait. Just don't give up. Keep working. Because it will certainly come. It will not delay. It's going to come when you're ready. When it's going to be a guarantee, it's going to be a blessing for you. And when I think about the vision, I think of totality for my vision. Now, like I said, I don't want to get to a point where I can't enjoy life. So, health is a part of my vision, but everything, so I go to the next slide. So I did an example of a personal vision that I did years ago. It's pretty consistent now. And my first point was to live a healthy, well-balanced life that is pleasing to God. Listen, I like balance. I've never been a person that been extreme. Like in my day, hammer pants was the thing people wear. I never had a pair of hammer pants. I never went to the extreme. You know, I never walked around dressed like Michael Jackson. I might have had a black leather coat, but I'm not going to walk, you know. So I like being balanced in my approach. Now, you may be different. Your personality may be totally different. That's fine. Do what you feel you need to. But I'm saying this is an example. So I say a well-balanced life, pleasing God. My next thing, go straight to my family. I wanted to provide a happy home, a loving home for my family in a safe community. Number 3, I wanted to be a good steward over my finances and to help people understand good financial stewardship. Listen, I was not always this person who was like gung-ho about finances. I wasted money like everybody. But I had a safety net for my first 30 years of my life. And, you know, when I came out of college, I made good money. I made good money in college, you know. We worked at a hair care company and in the curl, you know, it was booming. It was Soul Glow, you know, it was BB Cosmopolitan Curl. The money was coming through glycerin like the gold rush. I mean, we was making a ton of money. And I was spending it. Now, I did always have a saving mentality, but it was not a good one. I always was saved, and I maybe was saving like 2 or 3% of what I was making. And my mom used to do at 24, 25 years old, 26, always to almost about 27, my mom used to balance my checkbook. Now, she ain't put no money in it, but she used to balance it. She'd say, Jerry, you need to get some money. Your accounts are going to be overdrawn. And she kept me up to task. When I turned 30, my mother died. All of a sudden, 30 years old. Now, I just got married. I was a little over a year into my marriage. And I had a new baby boy that was born off my honeymoon. And that was my wake-up call. Because I knew my safety net was gone. My dad was still alive, but growing up, my dad was no nonsense. I was thinking, I learned later when he dealt with my other family members, that my dad was not this person. But when I was growing up, man, my dad was a provider, but my dad did not play. My dad was like, I remember my dad used to ride motorcycles, and my car broke down, and he had to take me to school on his motorcycle. And this is my dad now. And so I get on the motorcycle, and so I go to grab, he said, put your hands back. Now, he didn't have no Harley. He had one of those, he had a CBX road bike, the kind with the, man, that dude was hitting him, leaning. Man, I grabbed him, but that's the kind of guy he was, you know. I mean, if I listened to him, I'd been rolling down the highway right now. But my point was, I thought my safety net was gone. And I was forced to handle my money. And I got serious about it. And, you know, Pastor Nathaniel down the road, you know, he got wind of how I handled my money, and that's why he got me teaching this class. It's way before. Because I got serious about my money. And I had this attitude that I wasn't going to be broke, and I ain't going to be asking people for money. So I made money. My mama used to always say, you make enough money. She said, why aren't you saving? She taught me everything. She taught me about amortization schedule. She taught me everything I need to know. She said, you got to save your money. I balanced my own checkbook, all this stuff. Nothing I was doing until I was 29. So what's your wake-up call? So you have to make a decision. And there's no better time than the present. Here's an example, next slide 17. Here's an example of goals that align with the vision. Did I read all of them? Oh, let me finish. Let me finish reading. So stewardship, the next one was, go back to the other slide. The next one was to be free from financial slavery and debt. I told you I hated debt. And the need to consume products. That's another thing. I did a business venture. I started buying real estate, and I was doing good. I was buying in Birmingham. And I was making money. And I came to Atlanta, got with some guys, and lost all my money. And I knew I had to pay the money back. So I said, okay, what I do is I'm not going to buy a new car. I'm not going to buy any clothes for 6 years. Now, I was in advertising. And this is my plan. So, like I told you, the sacrifice. 'Cause I said, if I don't buy, because I was buying suits, because I had to go into these advertising agencies, and that's all about flash, and you got to look good. So I had some suits. Now, I had about a good 8 suits, right? But I was going to see these people, twice every 8 weeks. But the crazy thing was, I had a suit on, and that suit had to be at least 10 years old. And people go, is that a new suit? I'm in church now, I'm not gonna tell you. They were like, man, it's a sharp suit. And I wore those suits. My car, I had bought a 98 Q45, and I drove that car all the way up to 2010. I ain't buying no new car. So this is all, y'all remember real estate boom, this is all 2002, 2003. So I kept and I sacrificed. And I made sure that I was gonna pay my debt. And so I figured out, if I don't buy anything, if I don't do this, I can have the extra money from that to pay towards this debt. So, debt is something that's going to be a chokehold to you, and it's going to enslave you. So, the next one is be a positive example of high character and God's morality to my wife and my children. That speaks for itself, man. I ain't want nobody raising my kids, so I made sure I did everything I was supposed to do. And the last one was to have the financial ability to choose to work 9 to 5. That was my long-term goal. I want to get to the point where I had the choice of working, not that I got to go to work. Now, here's some examples of goals that align with your vision. My first thing was I'm going to tithe 10% of my income to God. That's just doing what the Bible says. That's just honoring God with his word. That's all I'm going to say about that. 2, I was going to spend 3 hours per week of uninterrupted time with my family, no distraction. One good thing when I made this sacrifice, we didn't go on vacation either. But we did do stuff. Like my son was playing basketball, so we would go to his basketball game. So you find ways to be together. You just can't spend money going to Disney World. I was going to invest 10% of my income in my 401k. I was going to lose 20, and these are the deadlines I put. 10 pounds. I had a thing where I wanted to lose weight and get in shape because, I stopped taking care of my body. So I was getting in shape. I started working out. Next thing is an example, and this is save $20,000. I remember when I bought my house, I didn't have to save money because my mother I had bought a condo when I graduated from college. And my mother taught me how to pay on the amortization schedule, pay directly to the principal. The condo cost me $40,000. I was living in Shannon Villas out near Union City. And when I moved out, I bought it in 1980, about 86, I think. About 86, I moved out in 91, but I had paid up to $17,500 that I got in equity off that condo because I had been paying over. So when you're in an apartment, you just turn the keys back in. But when I left my condo, and I sold it $3,000 less than I paid for it, I got money. And that was my money, but I got money because I had paid fast. I was paying. So we're going to talk about that, how you pay on the amortization schedule. So all those things are things you can do when you prioritize. I was going to work overtime when available for at least 6 days. This is how when you got to make extra money. You got to find a way to hustle. And there's a lot of ways now you can do stuff, And I had a plan to get out of credit card debt. That was always my thing. Get out of credit card debt. So these are examples of a vision. When we go through the Dave Ramsey, when you get those books, you'll see a lot of this stuff repeating itself. But if you have any questions, just go online. Just Google how to write a personal financial vision for Christians, and it'll tell you. It'll tell you. I mean, you align the things that are important to your life that align with what you know to be the character of God. And that's what you got to do first. Before you go any further, you need to set a financial vision. And I went 5 minutes over. You go to the last slide. Also, the last slide I put, that's one of the next class we're going to have, so I just want to put that up for y'all. Are there any questions? Any questions about a financial vision? Yes.
Questions about the financial vision, but I've been to your class a few times, and you just mentioned how your mom taught you about paying towards your principal.
Yes.
Organization schedule. I'm sure, I don't know if it'll come up, but where we could maybe find information about doing stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can tell you right now. So if you have a mortgage, there's two things you can do. You can write into your mortgage holder and tell them to send you a copy of your amortization schedule. That's the first thing you do. Or you can go online and you put the date you bought your house and how much you put down and how much you financed. You just pull your paperwork out, and it has calculators all online. But you can get your lender to send you where you are right now. Once you get that, it's going to divide the interest and the principal. So when you look at it, you'll see that your interest, let's say your note is $1,500. Well, the first couple of years, your interest may be $1,450, and your principal is $50. And if you pay $50, you just pay an extra month off. So now, instead of you being, how many months? 30 times 12, 360 months. You now just went down 359 plus your payment, so you have 358. So just get the interest amount and pay as much as you can. And once you get to the part where your interest is really close to your principal, then you can keep doing it. You don't have to, because now you cut it down. And see, by doing that, you can make a 30-year note to a 15-year note. And that's just paying an extra month every month. Yeah, so it's very simple. And so when I bought my house, that was the first thing my mother did. In fact, we did it at closing. She said, make sure you tell this lady to get your amortization schedule. And so I started, and it's so funny, I think about, because my note one, but like 330. it was crazy back then. I think it was 8% interest, but I was paying less than most people was renting back then. I'm like, why y'all don't buy? But I was in a great community too, man. It had a bunch of old white people, and they ran that place, man. I loved it, man. They didn't take no mess. I had a little lady stay next to me. It was the best. They had a guard at the gate. Man, that was heaven, man. I love that place. But yeah, that's all you gotta do. Just get your amortization schedule and just start and paying it down. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? So, sure.
I wasn't fortunate as young people today to have this knowledge, but my mom always taught us to pay the bills on time. She said, if you pay your bills on time, it's like having $1 million in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I have made that a habit all my life. Right now, I only have one credit card.
Okay.
I don't have a house note, don't have a car note,
Uh-huh.
just the basics of everyday living.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thankful for the knowledge that she did. And my dad worked real hard because when he first married my mom, I guess about a year after he had my older sister, it was paying like $4 a rent. Looking for bread, dime for a bag of beans and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure you all have heard stories like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so she was basically, worked at, at home with us and, raising us in school and everything. So this is new to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I know my children are into this,
Mm-hmm.
and my grandchildren are into this.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of teaching or learning, I would say, on my jobs, because I used to work for Riches
Mm-hmm.
downtown for a lot of years.
Hmm.
And I learned how Riches would buy so many items. One good example is just take a box of pencils. You may have, I said, Parker ink pens.
Mhm.
That was popular back in the day. You have about 20 in a box,
Mm-hmm.
but you would sell each one of them for $19.99. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But Riches only paid about a half a cent
Right, right.
for the pencil. So you see, they made a lot of money off of Parker ink pen. That was a top ink pen for
Mhm.
many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
A very good one.
Yeah.
So I'm just seeing how money can be made, and so I learned you don't buy anything at full price.
Yeah.
Because the longest it's in the store, after 30 days, it's gonna go down.
Mm.
And then they're gonna add a coupon or half price sale and so forth, on like that. So I learned never to buy anything at full price. And even today, I'm still that way. Because I learned you could get, I used to buy the nicest leather pocketbooks for $19.99. Leather pocketbooks today we know cost $400 and $500.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all in knowing. You have to know, you have to watch. And, because you can really just teach yourself, especially if you shop a lot, that even with food or anything else you buy.
Mhm.
Just know the longer it sits there, the cheaper it becomes. I guess that's right, but it worked for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
But I am trying to learn more
Yeah.
about it today, so I'm thankful for this opportunity.
Sure.
And my husband and I do plan on taking advantage of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Even though we're much older, but it's never too late.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Very good. Hey. Yeah, I think you all should always take time to be a smart shopper and to always be diligent to get value. And when you read or listen to the Dave Ramsey book, he talks about that. He's going to explain a lot of the things you see where we will learn the sort of hidden cost that will help to wreck our ability to invest more of our money and save more of our money. So a lot of those things that we will talk about, especially when it comes to buying big things like cars and that kind of stuff. And really right now, when you talk about purchases, people buy at the wrong time. It's like, when people are buying, you need to be selling. When people are selling, you need to be buying. So, when you start talking about different things, we're going to learn how to really count the true cost of things. And when you count it, what is it eliminating that you need to do? Is it decreasing your ability to invest or save? So is it really worth it? So it's just, so all those things are good, but make sure everybody get the book. It's called Dave Ramsey, Money Makeover. And when you get here, so it's 5, 6 people. So everybody, I got 6 people. I know I'm going to make sure they get reimbursed. So yeah, but I think you're going to really enjoy it and just go halfway through the book. You can do the whole book, but we're going to go over half of it with the workbook and just reiterate those points you need to know. So you'll get some other really good insights when we do that. All right, well, thank y'all for coming out. We right on time, so I'll see you guys on next month.